Hello and welcome to Module 7 of Dance Music Production for Beginners in Live. In this module we're going to look at arranging your clips, loops and ideas into a full track. Firstly, we need to open the live set that accompanies this module that you downloaded from the SonicAcademy website. To arrange our track, we need to switch from Session View to Arrangement View. We can do this simply by hitting the Tab button on the computer keyboard or clicking the Session and Arrangement View buttons at the top of the screen. In the Arrange window, the tracks are listed horizontally instead of vertically, so we have the track names along the right-hand side of the screen instead of along the top. To start arranging our track, we need to copy our loops from the Session window into the Arrange window. First, we're going to tab back to the Session view to find the clip which contains our first drum loop and drag it up to the Arrange View button. As soon as the cursor moves onto the Arrange View button, the screen will change to the Arrange view and we can simply drag the loop down onto the drum track. If the Back to Arrangement button is red, then we need to click that off to hear the loop in Arrangement View. If we move the mouse over the space above the tracks, it turns into a magnifying glass, which allows us to zoom in and out and move left and right along the track. The bar numbers are listed at the top of the window, so we can drag my kick drum out to the end of 8 bars. All we have to do is move the mouse to the end of the MIDI clip until it turns into a region tool. Click and drag it out to the length we want. If we go back to the Session view, we can drag our second drum clip in and copy it across for 8 bars too. At this point, we can click the small arrow to the left of the track to view the MIDI. This is a good way to see how the track is building from a visual point of view. Now we're going to do the same with our bass line and drop it in at the same point that our full drum loop starts. We can also use an alternative way to copy our samples across to the arrangement window instead of dragging and dropping. We just click and hold the mouse down on the clip we want to copy, hit the Tab button to switch the screens and drop the clip into position. We've brought in the full bass line, but we don't want the complete clip coming in at the start. We can edit it within the Arrange window to make it a bit more subtle when it first comes in. Firstly, drop down the bass line clip so we can see the MIDI and zoom in. Then we can reduce the length of it by the same way we increase the length of the drum loops, but dragging to the left instead of the right. In this case, we want to crop our bass line in half. We can copy this half bar bass line into any position we want by clicking on it, holding down Alt and dragging it to where we want it to go. This function copies the clip while moving it at the same time. We're going to use the keyboard shortcut to save it by holding down Apple S or Control S on a PC. We can also loop any part of the arrangement, which will allow us to edit clips within a specific section of the tune until we get them working the way we want. The loop region bar will be located at the beginning of the tune above the first track. If I scroll my cursor over it until it turns into a double arrow, this means I can now click and drag it into any position in the tune. Once I've got it where I want, I can also reduce or increase the size of the loop in the same way I control the lengths of the MIDI clips. Once in position, I can activate the loop function by clicking the loop switch at the top of the screen. If I move my cursor directly above the first track, it turns into a small speaker icon. This is called scrub mode and allows me to start the playback of the tune at any point I like by simply clicking where I want to hear it from. If I do this while our loop is switched on, it will now loop around the section I want to edit. I'm going to chop the resized MIDI clip up into 2 bits to try some new arrangements. To do this, I simply click the grid line at the position I want to cut and select Split from the Edit menu. This means I can now drag and drop the single note to any new position in the tune. I'm going to drop it here and copy it into the next grid space. I can repeat these techniques on all the tracks in my tune to create a complete arrangement. So in this module, we've shown you a number of interesting techniques to arrange your tune. In our next module, we'll show you how to automate tracks in your tune to create a more interesting arrangement.